How's your
whatever.
work day?
Pretty interesting. I had two one-to-one coaching calls today. Had a morning meeting with the team. One of my team members finished a content piece, and I uploaded that today. And then I spent the rest of my day focused on basically learning more about ads and trying
Hmm.
to understand more about how ads work and how my funnel's working. Also did some breakdowns of the numbers and like where we're at with in terms of ad spend and our return and how much everything costs. And then in that meantime, one of my appointment setters set two appointments for tomorrow, two super fire leads because one of the leads said he's willing, already told the setter, he said, I'm willing to pay $100 to $150 per week to learn a skill. And that's freaking mad doable for one of my programs. So dope. And
Hmm.
then the other guy is a business owner who had an SMMA and he scaled it to like $38,000 in revenue recurring monthly. But that business had to shut down because uh, I think he just went through probably a midlife crisis. That's what the notes were going on. He had to leave his hometown. He had to relocate, he needed money. So it says that he sold his business. And I'm like, you
Hmm.
sold an SMMA, so I'm gonna dig into that and I'm gonna figure out what's going on there and what's the value behind that. But it made it realistic because he said he sold it to like his friend, and it's already a pre-built company, you know. It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, if
but
you have like if you have people running it for you pretty much, then I mean,
But that's the thing. I don't think he really sold it. I'm skeptical. I'm going to ask questions about it. I'm going to see what's up
hmm.
there. Um, the data looks good though in terms of his energy. Seems like a good guy, but I'm skeptical because he's a one-man band. He's not. He never had a team. He's talking about his biggest bottleneck right now is automation and delegation, like hiring out a team.
That's crazy. He scaled an SMMA to over $30,000 a month without any team.
Um, it sounds crazy. It's not that crazy.
I mean, it depends like how many clients he
Like,
had.
once you Yeah, but also it also depends on how much you're charging per client. Because if he's confident because he's like real estate sales guy, so I'm sure like he didn't mind, and he knows how to generate leads.
Hmm.
So I'm sure he didn't mind charging, 3,000, $5,000 per month retainers for certain like whales that he thought were bigger niches and things like
Yeah.
that. You can, charge $10,000 a month retainers.
Oh
So
yeah.
he probably
Well,
had like a
like
couple strong retainers.
dude, one of our biggest clients when I did marketing was we had someone paying us $40,000 a month, but we were also managing half a million dollars a month in funds for
And
marketing.
ad
So
spend.
yeah.
Yeah, that sounds nuts.
But then when we changed industries and we went to marketing for tattoos, it was crazy because like we went from window replacement where like our average customer was paying like $10,000 a month
Hmm.
to tattoo shops which are paying like $1,000 a month. And so it's like a lot more clients, but a lot less work because you don't have as much money to spend on ads. So
Yeah. Were you guys retainer like percentage based, like performance based, or did you guys have both retainer
no,
plus performance or just retainer?
just retainer.
Okay. Okay. Cool, cool, cool.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
fire. So was it just dependent on how much ad spend the client was spending for you guys to
Yeah.
rate retainer?
Yeah, exactly.
Super fire, actually.
Yep. And then there's companies that do performance based, but also like for like tattoos, it's like you could be like a terrible tattoo artist. And like no matter
Exactly.
how good we are at marketing, if you're not good at what you do, then you're gonna like bad reviews on Google are gonna kill you way more than any marketing can do for you. So
Yeah, especially for businesses like that
yeah.
that require brick and mortar, require upfront Google like SEO. Yeah, that's huge. Because like our
Hmm.
businesses, like marketing agencies or coaching or whatever, it's so nuanced in this space, bro. Like it's not a clear where do you like if you need help in this space, it's not clear where you get the help from. You just
Hmm.
have to get targeted by someone's ads. Or like it pops up organically and you get into this funnel on YouTube or Instagram.
Yeah.
So that yeah, that's different compared to the brick and mortar and you need
Well,
to
it's
have
like
like views of
most,
there.
like you said, most people aren't like just looking for the things that you're offering. Like, I mean, there
Yeah.
are obviously, of course, people who are like gonna search those things online, but like a lot of times, it's like you don't know what you want until it's put right in front of you.
Yeah, 100%. But even then, dude, because like you do get to a point where you become solution aware, but there's no like clear and easy roadmap to be like, okay, I know specifically what I want to learn is this. Let me figure that out. It's just so all over the place with who teaches what because they all teach the same thing in different ways. That's
Hmm.
another thing too, right? Like everyone can run an ad, but everyone's gonna do their set up their campaigns all differently or set up where they're budgeting or set up how they're doing their structure and how they want to test certain ads. Like some people are going to have you launch 5 or 10 ad creatives, and some people are going to have you launch one regardless of your spend.
Hmm.
It's all different because it's just what they were taught and it's just what they know. But it like what they know works.
Yeah.
That's another thing too. Because
If it
another
ain't broke, don't fix it.
yeah, but that's another thing too, though, is like what works for you might not work for me.
Hmm.
Right? And that's a huge thing in this space as well. Because I purchase a lot of programs and a lot of people will teach iterations of the same thing. So you start to get a like hone in on like what's the core principles that you need in business. But I don't like the guys who say, don't do that, it doesn't work. And just do my thing.
Hmm.
I will tell you everything works. You just have to figure out what works for you.
I
Because
agree
like,
with that
right?
mindset. Well, it's just like, dude, there's so many different diets out there, for example,
That's a good
and it's
example.
like
That's a good example.
each of these diets can work. It's just finding the best diet that's gonna work with you and what you like to eat and what you enjoy. And
Yeah.
it's finding the formula that's gonna work for you and not. I don't know. It's just so weird because like everyone's always trying to pitch you their way of doing things, and it's not that the other ways are
Yeah.
wrong necessarily. It's just that this might be a way that works for them, and so you have to figure out which way is going to work for you. But then that also can lead to like
Yeah.
choice paralysis where you have so many options to where you don't end up choosing anything because you don't know which one's the best. So then you kind of just have to start somewhere.
Yeah, and that's why I recommend to people like start like invest into all of them because then you're going to learn the hard truth of what actually works and what actually doesn't. And then you get enough experience and enough level up to the point where you can see it from a third person perspective of like what actually is the next thing that you need. Like it does take risk and it does take investing into a lot of different opportunities and failing at a lot of them. But one thing I do realize that which is like anyone who is going to invest in themselves, invest in damn near everything for your business or whatever you do. Like learn as much as you can from as many different people on all the different sections that you can. Because even if you don't pick up everything from their mentorship, you're more than likely going to pick up one gem that will
Hmm.
change your business's life. Like my first time making money online, bro, the only reason, and you remember this, me and Kai were both in Jason Capital's course boss mentorship on how to build an online course and scale it to 4 grand per month. And in that mentorship, they teach you a method on how to make sales through DMs, where you only sell through DMs and you sell by sending certain links in DMs. And I noticed that I was one of the few people, if not like basically one of the only people actually really making money in that. But it was because the only gem I got from Jason Capital's course, bro, that really changed my life is number one, how to set up a course. And then number two, how to I didn't even learn how to generate leads. That's not how I originally learned how to really generate leads. I was generating leads from TikTok, but I learned how to DM set appointments. That's what I learned. I learned how to like text people properly because his scripts were so fire. Like his
Hmm.
scripts were perfect. It was exactly what you needed. So I would use his scripts to text people, and instead of closing them in the DMs, I would set appointments. And I already had a sales process that I learned from an SMMA course before Jason Capitals. So the one gem I got from him was how to set up a course and then how to also, you know, also the DM setting with or the DM sales. with the low ticket stuff, like the $97, $197. I was making sales like that. But to close like 997 and above, I was doing all on sales calls. That's why I
Hmm.
was getting like easy results because it was like I was giving people like $5,000 worth of value for like $500 or like $1,000 because what else am I going to charge at that beginner ass version
Yeah.
of myself? So that is also a big thing, bro.
Yeah, no, that is like, I think that's his best quality, hands down, is just the copywriting. And that's also probably why, like, he didn't, in part of that course, it was like all sales free in terms of like getting on the phone and calling people. It was teaching people literally just how to sell through texting.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
Yeah, his
it's pretty,
copy game is fire.
yeah, he's always been really good at that. I'm curious to see like the current thing he's selling right now. I think it's some AI thing.
I'm not
I'm not
curious.
gonna I'm not gonna buy it, but I know it's gonna be 997 and it's gonna teach you how to do some AI skill.
Dude, I know it's gonna be the exact same thing, bro. And that's
Yeah.
why it works, but um it's interesting because you had to iterate it, right? And what do I mean by that? Instagram has had a recent update look into
Uh-oh.
it deeper, but it stops people from being able to like, I think it's, yeah, it's kind of a stopped people from having an opportunity to like DM set or like close sales in DMs. I think that's what it is, like his whole model. Um, and so since Instagram made that, new rule, he has to move everyone from Instagram DMs onto WhatsApp. I went through the funnel, but I didn't finish the funnel. I just went through it. So it's like the
Gotcha.
same funnel, but instead he like immediately moves everybody to text him on WhatsApp.
I feel like that extra step adds so much more friction though, because there's so many people I know who don't even have WhatsApp.
They don't even know what it is.
Especially people in America, like third world countries, that's all they use. But
All they use.
in America, it's like, dude, I know a handful of people who have WhatsApp and they don't use it if they even do have it.
Yeah, and they only have it to talk to like family outside of the country or like their business owner. So that's why they're gonna have it. Or like Facebook Messenger is another OG to go back to when you need to message people.
Hmm.
That's what the Filipinos use. We out here using Facebook Messenger.
So I wanted to bring it back. So you had just mentioned about just taking the step and just starting when there's all these choices, and you actually have some experience with that because you've started to build up a company. And I want you to give the people listening an idea of how you started that company, how you got to where you are, and like some tools to for someone looking to begin their process into starting something.
Yeah, man. So how I got into that is when I was 9 years old, I had pneumonia. My breathing tube was literally the size of a peanut and it was closing. So I literally almost died. And I wouldn't have known that. I went to the hospital for a normal doctor's checkup. So I think if I never went to that hospital, I would have died in my bed the next week. Um, yeah.
Dude, that's
So
crazy.
yeah, my mom is the one who had to tell me when we are at the hospital. She said you can't leave for another 3 months. And it wasn't 3 months, but she said you can't leave until they open back up the breathing tube.
Hmm.
And so she gave me the hard truth of reality. Like you could literally die. So shout out mom for not being around the bush. She was hard Filipino about it. She's like,
W
hey, you going
moms, W
to do this.
moms.
Yeah, she's like, you gonna die if you fucking you ain't stay here. And so I was hospitalized for 3 months. And when I got out of the hospital, like my family grew up, my parents working more than one job, paycheck to paycheck, not affording bills, immigrated over here. And since that's how we grew up, I got evicted out of our house when I was 9, like immediately, damn near the week after I got out of the hospital. Because not to mention, my brother was just in the hospital right before me for another reason. So it was like two kids back to back. And then we get evicted, kicked out of our crib. And so we were forced to commute 2 hours back and forth just to get to school and to work every day because they couldn't leave their jobs. Otherwise, we'd be homeless. And we didn't want to leave our school and our friends. So we all woke up early. We moved an hour and a half away to a more affordable area. And that was like a good year and a half of our lives. Um, I bring that up because that's what lit a fire in me. That's what made me realize that money like is a thing that was a struggle for my family at the time and made me understand like I want to be financially successful and change like my lives for my family, retire them, take care of them. And I knew it was possible because when I was 7 and 8 years old, I would watch YouTubers like PewDiePie, Smosh, Vanoss, and I'd be like, these guys are literally just playing video games, having fun, doing what they love to do, and they're making millions doing it. So I know you can be a millionaire by doing something unconventional or doing something that you believe in that's passion based. So then, like, dude, growing up, I tell everyone I want to be a YouTuber. Like, I tell everybody, like, that's my thing. I'm going to do something that isn't school. And in middle school and high school, I already knew that school was like scam slash was also really not necessary. Like I knew finesse the system. So 14 years old, that's when I was really studying entrepreneurship and business owners. I just kind of came to that point where I was always looking for different ways, like already kind of thinking outside the box. So at 14, I was already watching Eman Godzi, Grant Cardone, shout out to Jason Capital, and then shout out to a guy named Rudy Maurer, like a couple other people who are just already above 20, 30, $50 million cash collected. Eman was smaller at the time. So yeah, that's where I was surrounded by those people, and that's where I started to learn about online business. And it was that age where I was Googling how to make money online and watching a bunch of YouTube videos. I never started a business in those ages, but I learned a lot about the industry, which is important to the people listening, right? The more you know about the industry, the more successful you can be at it because you just have more knowledge and information about what you're actually doing. You're not going in blindsided. So I got super informational about what it is that I'm actually doing, where I'm at, all the business models. If you heard of trading, if you heard of drop shipping, if you heard of Amazon FBA, AI agency, SMMA, or whatever, I knew of everything that was possible, affiliate marketing, whatever, back in the day. And I started picking on one business. I had three models in mind in 2022 when I turned 18 and 19 years old. And those three models was going to be drop shipping, real estate, maybe wholesale, and social media marketing agency. And the SMMA one was my favorite of all of them because drop shipping, I realized you need capital because you got to pay for the products to test all the products and see them in person. And then you also got to pay for ads. Otherwise, you have to go organic. You got to generate leads somehow,
Mhm.
right? Same thing for wholesale real estate. I just never got into it. It just wasn't for me. But SMMA, like I was watching Iman, so I was like, dude, this is the one. This is the one I can do. So yeah, I didn't do any online business. I worked on communication and body language for all of high school. And then when I was 18, I had to do college. I told my mom, I said, hey mom, I'm doing this for you and for you only. I'm not doing it for anybody else. Um, I'm not doing it for myself. I will get a degree for you. One semester goes by, I drop out. So useless, bro. So useless. I had five classes, all useless, dropped it down to two, had a business class, which, by the way, he told me the business class himself said, you don't have any homework and you are not required to show up to class. So I was like, what am I doing here? Yeah. The last class I took.
What?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, literally. So, and he ran two businesses. He had like an e-commerce business. He also had ironically, a dispensary for weed. So he had two businesses.
You know, at least he had actual business experience because there's a lot of people who teach what they don't actually like. They teach
Yeah,
business and they don't actually have a hand in any sort of business whatsoever. They just went to school to become a professor to teach business.
exactly, right? But the thing is, that's why I took the class. But for all I know, maybe Brud didn't actually own any businesses because he literally was like, no homework and you don't got to show up. He just money. I don't know. Maybe he just needed the 4K per month. So
Might
there's
have.
shoot, bro. And then I took a communications class, which was fun, but dude, I just got to the point where I was like, I'm not here to be a doctor, a lawyer, accountant, or an engineer. I have no reason for those things, so I'm not here for school. I can do this without a degree. And I dropped out, didn't tell my parents. They found out the hard way, and I said, Mom, if I don't make $6,000 a month by the end of 2022, and it was March at the time, I said, I will go back to school. You can always go back to school. That's what I want everyone to know. You can always go back to school. That's not an issue. So if people are listening and they're dealing with their parents and their families right now, trying to harass them on the fact that they have to go to school to get a degree and get a job, dude, we're in a different wave. Gen Z, you know it. Everyone, you got 14-year-old millionaires. So you can always go back. I told her that. And my stubbornness and my belief really sold it on her because I've been fighting it since I was 14, telling her that I wasn't going to go to college. So like now that it was actually that time and I really still stood by my word, she said, okay. And that's when I had to get real about it, bro. I started, I was working part-time at a coffee shop and I was investing all the dollars that I could into all these different courses that I kept getting targeted by, all these ads on how to make money. And I was buying everything I could. And none of them were like the thing that really changed my life. None of them, because they're all just courses. So I never had like mentorship and I never, when you buy an online program and they give you just a small piece of the bigger puzzle.
Hmm.
That's all it was. And no one would call me either. No one would try to sell me something. So I would never bought. And it wasn't until June of 2022, I bought my first program on SMMA. And once I bought my first program, I had to ask my mom for the extra 1,000 because it was a $2,000 program and I only had 1,000. And he wouldn't let me join unless I paid it off. So I literally was like, Mom, like this is the one, 10K per month. This is the one. Like, just trust me. She, dude, I had to sell her so bad, and I kept saying like I will do all this X, Y, and Z, everything. I'll work for it. Like I just need this. Like I was making it very clear I was trying to get value for the money. And she said yes, and I ended up joining the program. Um, that program was important to me because that program taught me how business infrastructure works. So if you're listening to this and you want to start an online business, the first thing that you are going to want to know is who are you selling to? Who do you help and what problem are they going through? AKA a niche, a target avatar. You need to know who you're going to help. Is it the single mom? Is it the dentist or the doctor? Is it the kid who needs to learn how to skateboard or play basketball? Who do you want to help? Right? And what problem are they going to? That kid who wants to learn how to play basketball, does he want to become the next Michael Jordan? That single mom, does she want to, develop or build on a relationship, or does she want to, lose weight? Like what is she looking for? Um, you want to figure out what problem that person is going through and how to solve it. Now, one thing is when you're trying to solve a problem for that person, you don't have to solve the problem yourself. If I know that this single mom is looking to lose weight online, but I'm not a fitness trainer, and Kiya knows how to do fitness, but he doesn't understand business, I can say, hey, Kiya, dude, I have this, process that I just learned, a business model. And how about this? Let's partner up. You go and help and do the delivery where you are the one who's training and coaching these people to lose weight. And I'll do the rest. I'll sell, I'll get you the clients. You don't got to worry about anything else. So that's the game, right? Yeah. See, bro already know. He's like, man, maybe we should do that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's the game, right? Who to help, what problem are they going through, and solving that problem for them. You don't have to be the one who solves that problem for them. You can just be the guy who is the middleman, right? Connect the clients and the buyers. So I learned that. I learned that, you need someone to help. I learned that you need to deliver a service or a product for that person. And I learned that people are willing to pay you to solve problems for them.
Which that would either be affiliate marketing or white labeling, essentially.
Yeah, if you do a middleman thing or just a operator, you're just a partnership. You just run
Hmm.
the systems in the business and the other person does the delivery, right? So a white label, in my opinion, is, branding it as it's yours, but it's
Hmm.
really like an entire separate company doing all the work, or entire separate software doing all the work.
Yeah.
In this, it's like you and I are partners, right?
Hmm.
You can do it like that. Um, that's the game. Now, I learned that importance, and that's where I learned that you need a product or a service to sell to somebody. And then I learned in that social media marketing course that you need to generate leads. You need to learn how to find people to sell to. And after that, I learned a skill where you have to learn how to sell to those people. So that course taught me the infrastructure of business. It taught me find a product or service or create one, market it so that you can actually generate leads, and then start selling. It also taught me how to hire a team member because it wanted you to be the middleman, right? It wanted me to not have to deliver the service for myself. So example, SMMA was like, hey, we'll run ads for local businesses. I don't know how to run ads, right? At the time. So I'm going to hire someone from a third world country, like my first hire, Solomon, shout out to bruh. And Solomon is going to do the work for me, and I just get clients for Solomon. And then that's the game. And we just help local businesses make money. So like that's what I figured out. But the thing is, I hired Solomon. I built the program. Like I went through the whole program. I finished the program in a month. And by month two, I literally had a contractor, Solomon, ready to go, ready for me to get him clients. And for 2 months straight, I didn't outreach to a single client. I didn't do the literal thing you needed to do to make money.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's important to share because why I felt so resistant is because even though I knew about the business model and even though I knew about the structure of the business and I had the person who delivered the services for me, the program did really terrible of a job of actually breaking down how we help clients. So in my mind, I was like, how do I even sell email marketing or paid ads if I have no idea what I'm even selling or serving them for? Like, how do I even do it in the sales process? Because they didn't teach me that. They just taught me like a basic sales call format. And then me as well, which is another regret to anyone listening, is I have these mentorships where they have coaching calls, and I never hopped on the coaching calls to ask a question. I kept trying to do it straight from the course and trying to figure it out myself and whatever.
Why do you
So
think
that's
that was?
I think it was just me. Like I don't know if it originated entirely from like a fear or if it originated from like a desire to want to do it all by myself. It was probably just like an unknown fear for no reason, where it
Yeah,
was
that's what
just
I was gonna say. Do you think it was
yeah.
potentially like either a fear of like just getting on the phone and like just asking those questions and figuring out, or just like maybe an ego thing too, which I can't imagine
That
you
could be a that could be
having
a part of it.
yeah, maybe an ego thing. Maybe we were like, well, I just want to learn on my own. I don't need help from one on one. I can figure it out.
Yeah, I actually have no idea. I would say it was probably like a mix of both, but never like something that surfaced up where it was so clear this was the answer. It's just a regret of mine.
Hmm.
Um, and I think it's because part of it was when they give out a course that's so laid out, I'm deep down, I'm like, okay, well, everything is here, right? Everything's here. And maybe it was the fear and ego of like talking to someone and showcasing that I have nothing, I don't know anything about it. So it was definitely that. I would say it was a mix of that in the online space because like when it comes to like skateboarding, when it comes to boxing, when it comes to whatever, I have no fear of like looking bad in front of a person. But like to show up to that to the coaching calls, like a class like that about how to make money, I don't know. I guess I had that like limiting belief or something.
Hmm.
It had to be something because something stopped me. So I
Yeah.
just don't know what to label it, but it is a regret of mine. And 2 months in, man, I just didn't outreach. And a big reason why was like I mentioned, I just understood the structure of the business. I didn't understand how I was really going to deliver this result and how I was going to sell what I'm delivering. I had no idea like how to like structure this sales process. And so while that happened, I remember, I think it was God's plan, to be honest with you, because I started just posting on Instagram for free. And I was just telling everyone, I was like, listen, I learned how to build businesses. Not necessarily I learned how to build businesses, but like I purchased an SMMA program. I'm on a journey of learning how to make money online. If you guys want my roadmap or my frameworks, like just hit me up. I'm giving them for free. And I would post that on Instagram all the time. And then at the time, this one guy swipes up and he's like 30 years old. He's 30 years old. And bro, he was he's 30 years old. And I met him at a conference, like a real estate conference, like I would say just a couple months prior to that. And he swipes up. He has a whole kid and he's like, "Hey man, are you teaching people how to build an SMMA?" And then I was just like, "Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm doing." And then his response was, "Let me be a client." So my brain was like, okay, hold on, hold the phone. Okay. And I set an appointment with him, right? And it was my first sales call ever. And I had the appointment probably like 3 hours from the time I set the appointment. And I was just like, not freaking out, but I was like, with everything I learned, because I read a lot of Russell Brunson, I had a lot of Grant Cardone. And I was like, okay, I need to build an offer right now because if I'm going to be a coach, I need to build something. So I
Mhm.
literally like gathered my Notion documents and I was just like, I can show you my first offer, dude. I still have it. Like I can show it to you. I like gathered all like whatever I knew into Notion, man. I made it sound pretty. I made it so that it was an irresistible offer. And I built it, bro. And then I was just trying to build out a sales process. And then I hopped on the call with him. And when I hopped on the call with him, let me see if I can find the original screenshot because I do have it. I should have the original screenshot of the first deal. Um, whenever when you hopped on that call with me, bro, I was so terrified. I was terrified. And I did the whole sales process. And I was like, this is a $5,000 value, but you're only getting it today for 497. And I shut up and I was so scared. I was like, oh hell no, I'll just fucking ask this guy for $500 right now. And his response was, is that it? I just looked at him. I was like, yes. And he goes, all right, cool if I just pay it later? And I go, yeah. And I let him off the call. He leaves the call, bro. And I remember I was just like, what the hell? Is this closed? And I was thinking about it the whole time. And I sent him the payment link and I'm just thinking about it all day. And then I received the notification. I received the notification. It was 497 paid. And that was my first sale online. And
That's
that was,
crazy that he actually ended up paying it too.
dude, yeah, that was my first sale online. That was my first closing call. And dude, he paid it. And what's funny too is he paid it and disappeared. That's why I love that guy. He paid it and never worked with me. He paid it, stopped answering my texts.
You're like, dude, do you want me to help you or what's going on here?
Yeah, yeah, dude. So that's why, like, shout out to his name was Jack. Jack Chang, watching this, bro. Shout out to you, man. You changed my life because you made me realize it was possible.
Do you think there's people like that who they just buy things because it makes them feel good, makes them feel like they're making progress, but in actuality they're not making any progress. They're just buying
Yeah.
the thing to make them feel like they're doing something.
Yeah, man. I close people like that all the time. Part of the game. I got to be honest. Close people like that all the time. They'll be like, yeah, I'm 100%, I'm down, I'm ready, I'm gonna do it. And then they purchase and they never talk to you, right?
Disappear.
They disappear. And here's the thing, I had the level degree like that where it's like I disappeared from the coaches, but I didn't disappear from the course. People have a degree where they disappear from it entirely and they'll keep
Hmm.
paying it off until it's done. And so, and then, some people will stop paying it, but yeah, dude, those people exist. And I don't know if he was one of those. I think he like paid it, and part of it was to help me. And the other part of it was also just like he realized he didn't even need it and he already paid for the program. So he was kind of like, whatever.
Hmm.
Because he was interested, but I think it was like, 50-50. He was like, I got a kid. I'm good. I live in San Francisco. I'm just going to fucking pay this kid money. And then what if I don't,
Yeah.
whatever, I don't feel like I need this. So, yeah. But here's the thing I also want you guys to know I've sold it before I made it. That's another thing that actually, no, I wasn't in Jason's program yet. So that's messed up. Jason will teach you how to sell things before you create it.
Yeah.
I did that before being on Jason's thing. So I literally sold it. And then I was like, oh crap, I need to make a program now. So then 1 week later, I was like, let me make a program. And then I literally was like, he paid for it. And I was like, thanks for paying, man. The program will be out next month. But that made me changed my belief level so much, guys. The reason why it did, bro, was because I started making money every day from that point on. Every day. And the reason I was able to make $3,000 a month for like 4 months straight before I ended up shutting it down to start my sales job. But I was able to do that. And the reason why was because I filmed for 6 months straight my journey on TikTok. So literally from the moment, like from a month or 2 months before I purchased my first program to me literally telling you guys, hey, I just purchased my first program, to me saying I landed my first client, which was Jack Chang, to me then saying like my first $1,000 deal online, you know? And that's when I joined Jason Capital's program at the time. So like I already had a proven sales process because the way that I did it was I knew how to set appointments already and I knew how to close, kind of just off the framework of the last course. And then I would basically post content on TikTok. Someone would follow me because they're interested in the journey, like a young entrepreneur. And then I'd set up an appointment on TikTok DMs. Who does that?
That's crazy that you filmed your whole like journey like that. Cause that's
Yeah.
like that's how I found we've talked about this Casey Cox
Yeah.
was like he filmed his whole thing pretty much from he started on TikTok and like he filmed talking about how he was just getting starting for Mike Barron's course or something and
Yeah.
then ended up getting hired on with him and starting his own sales thing.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. And I'm so glad that I did that. I mean, I don't regret that I stopped doing that. I will always come back to it in the future. I mean, right now is not the time, and I'll explain why later. But I'm grateful that I did that because that allowed me to set appointments and close deals every day. Even if those $97 deals, $200 deals, or the biggest packages I was closing at the time was 1,200, like 199 a week for 6 weeks. I was able to do that because of the fact that I had leads coming in from TikTok. Otherwise, I would have hated doing the Facebook outreach thing. I would have hated it. So I would have never done it because I would have wanted to find something in alignment with me. And at the time, the TikTok content was really in alignment with me. So all the people I had that were on my Instagram and then all the people I had on TikTok, I was setting appointments with them and closing deals and that I was able to make $3,000 a month. So that was nuts. Here's the thing though, everyone. I could have kept that profit, but no, what do you think I did? I kept looking for the next mentorship because my goal was to get to 10K per month as soon as possible. So that's why invested in Adjacent Capital's program. And then I invested into another guy named Renzo Guevara. And Renzo actually worked with Jason. So it was like super hand in hand because like I was like, oh, there's a lot of similarities here. So it's like now I can see like the things that I'm missing in his program. And I took gems from everything. Like I learned about how to build a course from Jason, and then I learned setting appointments with Jason. But then in Renzo's program, I learned um, how to close deals and have a better framework with handling objections. I also learned how to post content on Instagram and how to make my Instagram look a lot more clean as far as a brand. Like shout out to Renzo. And then from there, I invested into more mentorships and more mentorships. And over time, I just kept skilling up. And that's the number one thing of what I would tell anyone listening is pick the business model, regardless of which one you decide to do, invest into as many mentors as possible into it. I don't care what it takes. Get more money, get a job, get a raise, and invest as much as possible because you need all the gems, bits, and pieces to learn. Information changes situations. So get as much information as possible on one thing. And as you continue to get all that information and continue to implement that information, keep investing back into yourself because you're your number one asset. And
The
when you do
key
that, you will win.
for people watching, the key part that he just said is actually implement the information that you're learning. If you're retaining and learning all this knowledge but not taking any action on it, you're not going to get anywhere. So,
Yeah, huge, man. Like, and you're gonna get stuck in analysis paralysis and the I don't know if I could. And here's the thing, if you wait to get confident before you start doing the work, you will never actually do the work because what it
mhm,
takes to gain confidence is doing the work first because confidence comes from reps and experience. Hard
exactly.
work breeds the confidence. So just do it and freaking fail forward. Like skateboarding taught me that. Skateboarding taught me that because it took me 1 month to learn how to ollie, and it took me 1 year, 6 hours a day, 7 days a week, every day after school, when I was 9 years old, to land my first kickflip for 1 year straight. I didn't land it every day. That's all I tried.
Mhm.
So failure 99% of the time to get 1% success. I learned that from skateboarding. And I realized how much that applies to everything in life. And that's why I'm not afraid to fail because I know you have to earn the work because now I can kickflip every day. You know what I mean? Multiple times a day, up and down things.
Mhm.
And that's because of reps and reps and reps and reps and reps. And the same thing in business, guys.
That's why I love baseball because like to be considered one of the all-time greats in baseball, you just got to hit the ball 3 out of 10 times. So you're failing 7 out of 10 times, and you're considered one of the best to ever do it. So it's like in
That's actually
all
cool. I didn't know that.
in all these sports, and like it's a constant theme in everything in life. If you want to be successful, you're gonna fail. You just have to accept that failure is a part of the journey.
Yeah, dude. 100%. 100%. Dude, because the 99% of the time that you fail and that 1% of success, that 1% starts to increase. And that increase becomes a consistent rep every single day until your body and your mind and your spirit gets so used to it that it becomes the norm and it breeds a standard baseline for you. So that's why you just got to keep pushing and doing it over and over and over again because everyone starts at awkward and everyone starts at suck and everyone starts at you can't do it yet. And that's where it just has to be. And over time and over the reps, you're going to learn and pick it up. And that's why like my suggestion for everybody is always just give it a go and get past the emotional cycles of change. And the first thing I'm going to say before you speak on your point is the emotional cycles of change. There's a thing where when you first do it, hold your thought. Hold your thought. Don't forget about it. Okay? The emotional cycles of change. Number one, you're an uninformed optimism. You don't know what it is and you're optimistic about it. Number two, you get informed pessimism. You know what it is and you realize it's a lot harder than you freaking thought. And the last thing is value despair. You realize it's way harder than you thought and you're so ready to quit that you do quit. The problem with that is you're going to quit and you're going to see another shiny thing that looks fun and looks cool, like another business model or another thing. And you're going to start that and you're going to quit that too. And it becomes a cycle that I see a lot of people will put themselves in. If you just decide to get past the value of despair, keep going, you will reach something called informed optimism. You will know what it is and know that it's hard, but accept that it's hard and you can see the light. And the last step is success, where you actually win and you actually become successful and get your first whatever goal that you decide to get. Anyways, you were gonna say?
Well, I was just gonna say, like, the things that we're gonna regret at the end of our life aren't gonna be the things that we failed at. We're gonna regret the things that we didn't try. So it's like, why not
Mm.
try? Why not put yourself out there and do the things that you want to do, or at least attempt them? Because then you can at least tell yourself like you gave it something. But to let your fear hold you back from at least trying something that you're interested in doing is only going to cause regret later on in your life.
Exactly. Ah, man. And it kind of saddens me. But it is what it is, right? Um, knowing that people, there are people in the world who will let their dreams die. And that's not what my mission is, because my mission is to help people make their dreams a reality and show people that it's possible. That's what I do for my business. That's what I do for my life. There's one kid who just joined my program last night. His main goal is to become an actor. I sell a business on how to make money online. What correlation do I have on helping become an actor? But you best believe I literally told him, I said, you rock with me. I have people I know in my network right now who live in Los Angeles who knows casting directors and I can get you in front of them. Like if that's your goal, bro, then I got you. But we're gonna get you a stable income and replace what you're doing right now, and everything's in turn to helping him get his goal. Like that's the game in life. God did not put you on this earth for you to just work a 9 to 5 that you hate and do a life that you absolutely hate. That's not God. That's neutral control on yourself. Like, I have you seen the Odyssey yet? I'm not gonna
Have
spoil
not,
nothing.
no.
Um, but there's a very key theme in the Odyssey. And one of the themes is that men despite what God wants, or in their case, quote unquote, the gods want, men is the ones who decide to destroy themselves because it's their own minds. So that's a key theme in that movie, and that's like a key theme, right? Like in this context as well, is God wants you to win and He loves you, but you got to pick God first because that's where you're going to get wealth. God first, and then after you do that, that's the game. Part of that game, though, is knowing that situations that you put yourself in life is a neutral situation. We're all born in different places. We all have different ways that we live life and have different homes and different roofs over our heads and different ways we all make money. But that doesn't mean that our end places all have to be the same or their end places have to be determined off where we started. I know people who have like the worst of the worst situations and they become billionaires because that's what they wanted. And it's because they didn't let their dreams die. So that is the point that I wanted to make.
It's a good point. I mean, there's so many people. I think everyone has a dream at some point or another. Like we were all kids at one point. You can't tell me that your younger self didn't have a dream that he aspired towards. I feel like everyone at one point, but the older we get, the more life breaks us and beats us down, and a lot of people let that spark go. And I think you have to try your best to keep that spark alive.
100%. That I can agree with. That I can agree with. But that's, I say that the lives that we live are neutral, but the devil still is going to be evil. So the devil will still try to bring you down and to make you realize that to maintain your fear and to lose your faith. Like the devil's going to do two things for you. Like one thing about it with me is I feel like even though I've had success in my life, I'm not at the success I've always wanted to be at, like hardcore seven-figure business, full profit to me, right?
Hmm.
Where I'm actually the one making all of that money. And I'm on my come up there and God first, and I see where he's taking me and I see why he decided my life would go in this route and why we took the steps that we took. Um, but I bring that up because like Satan, for example, I feel like he had a huge influence in trying to disrupt my dream and trying to disrupt me and trying to disrupt my faith in God, helping me achieve that. Because Satan does two things. Okay. He's either going to give you wealth so that you use and idolize money to let go of God, or he knows that you love God regardless of whether you get wealthy or not. So he's going to take away your dream of wanting to be wealthy as much as freaking possible and try to have that be the reason why you let go of God. And I feel like he did the latter for me because I make it very apparent. I'm like, God, you're first regardless. Okay. But you know my dream of becoming financially successful and how far I'm willing to take it. He knows that dream. So I feel like the devil has done everything in his power to take that away from me so that I continuously start to get more disbelief in God. But I've seen people do the opposite. I've seen people where it's like they start to lose their faith in God because the devil gave them everything they ever wanted. And that happened to Jesus. The devil kept tempting him with giving him the whole world without having to die on the cross. And Jesus chose God regardless, right? But that was one of the things. It was like the devil will give you exactly what you're looking for. And there's a reason why those people still feel so empty. And it's because God is missing in their lives. And it feels like they didn't actually feel like they're fulfilling their life's purpose or their dream in the way that they thought that they would. And it's because they have that love and that idolization of other aspects, money, objects, material. So I think that's huge to make apparent for people because the more you see it in the real world, the more you can find awareness to what the devil's trying to do to keep you away from God.
Amen. Do
Amen.
is there any like actionable advice? I guess actually, how
Besides that crap, like, was there any like actual advice like you had
no,
or
no, 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 no. That I was rephrasing what I was about to ask. What is an actual step for someone to really put God first over their business? Like, what is something someone should be doing on a day-to-day basis to build their relationship with Christ?
so in the Bible, um, in like the first couple of books, right? It talks about Noah's relationship with God, and how Noah's family was the one that was saved because he was the one who had the most close, like his bloodline had the most close fellowship with God out of everybody, um, in that time. And that's why when the flood happened, Noah's family was the one that was good. Because during that time, all of the people who came from Adam and Eve, they all started separating from God, majority of them. And then Noah's family and his bloodline really didn't. They kept close fellowship with God. So that's number one, because a lot of people are going to tell you read the word. A lot of people are going to tell you go to church. A lot of people are going to tell you to do the traditions. But in reality, God just wants you to have a relationship with him, which is why those things are said. But in reality, you don't have to go to church. And, I'm not going to say you don't have to read the Bible because I'm a firm believer in reading the Bible. But I am going to say that number one, just have a genuine relationship with God. Talk to him. Like, let him be known. Speak about him and speak to him during your days. every day when I go on a walk, every day when I start my morning, every day it's like I speak to God as if he's there as a presence. It's hello, God, and good morning. Or I'll laugh and I'll joke like he's my friend, like he's there. Like I have a genuine relationship with my Lord. And so it's the same thing for anyone who wants that genuine relationship, is just start now. Like he's there regardless of whether you speak to him or not. Like he will be there. His Holy Spirit will be with you. And so if you call to him and you speak on his name and you tell him how you feel and you confess to him of your sins and you get real about it with him, and it doesn't have to be in public. Jesus calls you to pray in private, right? Just speak with him. That's number one. Keep a close fellowship with God. And that close fellowship also includes in prayer, you know? So praying actually is a very beautiful thing. Um, so I would pray in private. You don't gotta pray in front of anybody. Close your door, lock it, and start speaking to God about what you're going through in life and the struggles you feel, and like share it with him because he shares those struggles with you. That man literally died on a cross, the most agonizing death that you can receive, and he was innocent and he took it willingly. Like I can go really deep into depth the pain and agony he went through all the way leading up to the moment of his death until he resurrected. Like he didn't have to do that,
Hmm.
but it was prophesized, and he's like, you know what? I'm going to fulfill my prophecy and I'm going to do it. And so he shares that pain with you. He understands it. So share that pain with him because he will bring you that peace if you actually ask for it. But if you try to handle everything all by yourself, guess what you're going to get? Pain all by yourself. So give it a shot. And then I would read the Bible. Like that's like once you have a fellowship with God and he knows you're calling him by name and he knows you're building a relationship with him, um, that's when I start reading the Bible. Another thing too, I want people to listen to, because some people are going to be like, I don't know, God this, God that. But God loves you for you as an individual. The sin is what he doesn't like. So anyone who's listening who's like, I don't know if God can love me because I'm this or that. God loves you. And because you're you. And you are not this or that. You are you, just doing this and that. Does that make sense? So God loves you as who you are, and God looks at the heart, not the appearance. God looks at the heart. And so that's one thing I want you guys to understand is it doesn't matter necessarily like how you view yourself. God will always love you. What matters now is that you love him. So what is why it causes you to make the decisions of change, which is what a lot of people don't like to do. They like to hold on to their like sin and fleshly desires, which could be lust, could be gluttony, could be foul mouth, could be whatever it may be for you. One of my biggest sins right now has been foul mouth. One of my most previous sins before that has been lust.
I have a
So
question about that,
what?
about foul mouth. So what are your thoughts on bad words? And I've had multiple discussions with some of my buddies about this, because I curse quite a bit, but I feel like a
Hmm.
lot of it has to do with how the word is used. And I heard like one pastor, he explained it. He goes like poop, doo doo, um, I don't know, all these different other words for shit. He's like, it's all in the context of what it's used. And he goes, but when you use it in a negative connotation or negative context, that's when it would be not not godly behavior. I pretty much.
I agree with that. It goes back to God does not look at outward appearance. God looks at the heart.
Hmm.
So if God's looking at the heart, it comes from the intention of what the heart is intending with that, with the words. But another thing too is sometimes you can just have the words slip in, like, are you effing kidding me? Or like, and sometimes you're just like talking to your buddies and you're like, damn, this is super cool. Like what the F is this? Like you'll just say it. And
Guilty.
it's like whatever. Guilty, right? Me too, man. I'm still super guilty. But then you look back and you're like, honestly, that didn't feel like it was a positive connotation. It could be as simple as that and it still doesn't feel right. So I think it's nuanced in that sense. Because there's also other contexts where I've kind of like, said it and then I would like kind of be like, oh, sorry, and like laugh it off. because like God, and then God's listening to him. I'm like, I still kind of laugh it off because I'm like, I know he understands. We're his kids. God literally says, I am patient with you because he understands it takes time for the human to get through what they need to learn to stop sinning. So he understands that we're still children, but he asks holiness and purity of us. So it's about being more Christ-like. And I don't think Christ is with his homies being like, "What's up, bitch?" Like, I don't think he's going crazy, you know? Um, and that's the part, So um, what the where I find myself losing the most, bro, is I'm humorous like that, right? So I like to
Mhm.
get my friends and like my boys to laugh, and I'll say things that are very derogatory,
All the time for
get
me.
them to laugh because it's funny, but it's also I think back and I'm like, well, there's a lot of things I did say that honestly wasn't even necessary for me to say just to make them laugh. Like
Hmm.
could have made them laugh any other way because there's easier ways to do it. But sometimes I'll go too far and just push the line, you know? And that's why it's nuanced. But I agree where it depends on how your heart feels about what you're saying with how you know the word and how you know Christ. Because if you
It's
don't know that, yeah.
funny that you say that because I just think like every time I'm with my friends, they always like tell me they're like I always like see reels and they're like the reel will say, "Who would you call if you had one call and the person who answered had to say like the most out of pocket thing?" And they always
Yeah.
tell me they're like they would call me first because I always answer the phone and I just like right away say something like just way out of pocket to make them laugh and be like, "Dude, what are you talking about?" Yeah,
Dude.
it's just like that's my type of like humor, and I'm just like the one in the friend group who just says crazy things to get laughs.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because God created humor. Like he calls us to be funny, but then you also got like I really do understand that I've gotten a lot of my humor from ungodly sources.
hmm
Like I grew up watching South Park. I grew up watching SpongeBob. I grew up watching Adventure Time. I grew up watching Rick and Morty. I grew up watching like PewDiePie. You know what I mean? Like I grew
yeah,
up Vanos Gaming. I grew up watching them. So I'm getting it from people who like, you know, they're gonna just do what the world desires and it's not what God calls of us. So every time I do it, it's like I do have to learn from it. And that's like the main sin that I'm dealing with right now. It's like damn near 100% the main
yeah,
sin. So
yeah. I don't know. My mind just always goes to gay stuff, dude. Like, I'll answer the phone. I was like, I heard you want to kiss me. And they're like, bro, what are you talking about, dude? It's
no,
like, yeah,
I get it, bro. I get it.
if we're being honest.
I was just playing Call of Duty with my homies.
Oh no.
I was playing Call of Duty Zombies. And I know that can get really derogatory for sure. That's where it gets so
You
evil.
ever
Is
played
like,
in Search and Destroy lobbies?
of
Oh
course, bro. That's what I
my,
grew up on.
me too. Freaking Call of Duty banned it so you like you are listening to your live chats now though, so you can't talk crap. Which might be,
Yeah.
I don't know. I used to say some pretty outrageous things to people on there. Me and all my boys, we talk so much crap to the people we were playing against.
Yeah, dude. That is funny, but it is so I just always try to come back to the character I know that Christ is, and then my heart behind when I say it, I'm like, do I feel like he would have appreciated that? And I feel like he would understand it, but not necessarily appreciate it. And so that's where I'm like, that's probably not the right thing to have should have done or
Hmm.
said. And we all have an intrinsic right or wrong. Like, let's be real. We all know it's not good to lie, cheat, or steal, right? And that's why I also believe in the Bible so much because you grow up hearing these things that are like, this is wrong, this is right. And you also grow up feeling the things that are wrong and right, like what's immoral and what's really moral. And then you read the Bible and you realize like God is 100% right. Like down the list, you're like, these 10 commandments, yeah, don't do none of that.
Hmm.
The two commandments that Jesus said, yeah, 100% agree. It all makes sense. And when you read the context of the Bible, you're like, Yeah, everyone deep down knows like honor your parents and like don't lie, cheat, or steal. And don't be jealous of what other people have that you want. Like, don't have that coveting for what other people have. Whatever else is really in the Ten Commandments, right? Like we all know it. And so since we all have that internal, not necessarily voice, but intuition, then that's what I would suggest that everyone learn from. And some people are ignorant, so that's why you have to know the Bible. Like that's why you would have to know the word. And then some people are choose to be ignorant, so like God will never speak to you. But I remember in my grow like as I was growing up, I had a very open relationship with God. I didn't know who Jesus was, but I had a very open relationship with God. I knew there was one God. I knew there was a guy who created the universe, and I just like had faith. So me growing up on that, I feel like God filled me with the Holy Spirit young. And even though I was still growing up fleshly, like always having fleshly desires or, always being like that nugget kid who just did whatever he needed to do, like regardless of that, I feel like God, it really still guided me to resonate with the Bible. Because once I picked up the Bible and read it for myself and not for anybody else, I had no other choice but to say Jesus Christ is Lord. Like I had no other choice. So that's a big point. That's huge for sure. Um, Yada yada yada.
Dude, that's just you just reminded me because you said Jesus Christ is Lord. Yesterday, I think it was. I don't know what it was, but I woke up from this dream, and the dream, like, when I say it to you, it's not going to sound that scary. But when I was in it, it just felt evil. Like something about it felt like there was like demons running it. And it was like the dream felt so real too. So in the dream, I woke up in my bed and I woke up to like my living room getting destroyed, like loud crashing sounds. And it was like a woman that was like mimicking my mom, like sounded like my mom, but I knew it wasn't. And was like
Mm.
yelling like for me to get my little brother, and I also knew my little brother wasn't here, and I'm like freaking out because I sleep with a gun next to my bed every night, and my gun, uh, like in real life, I left it in the living room that night, and I didn't have it next to my bedside, and so in my dream I like went to look for it, and I knew it was in the living room out where this person was crashing and destroying all my stuff,
Mhm.
and like I'm like freaking out, my heart's beating, and like I like kind of like throw myself off the bed, and as soon as like I peek over the bed, I see like this little boy crawling past at the end of it, and I was like, it was like supposed to be my brother, but it wasn't my brother, and like I just like had these chills run through my body, and like it was like a loud scream of like just all these sounds, and then I woke up and my heart was just beating, and I was like, I started praying to myself. I was like, Christ is Lord, Christ is Lord, Christ is Lord. I reject all demonic activity.
No, straight up, man. Straight up. Like Jesus Christ is Lord, and I 100% rebuke any demon that tries to take over your mind and get you in your dreams and get you in your spirit. Christ has seen you and he loves you and he will take care of you and he'll ensure that you will have a peaceful night's rest tonight. Pray about it before you go to bed. 100% rebuke any demons that had tried to attack you that night because that was 100% a demon attack, bro.
It's crazy.
Like,
I've had scary dreams, but like I've never had something that felt like evil like that. Like I literally, it just gave my whole house felt like the creeps that morning. It just felt weird. Like it was,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah.
So
Thanks
yeah,
for sharing that.
you brought that up, and I had to share that. So I usually don't have dreams that are like that. They're usually kind of all over the place, but not anything that like literally felt demonic.
Dude, every night I always pray, because I got it really from The Chosen, like
Hmm.
that series, because I saw that the character of Jesus would pray every night before bed, just thanking God and giving gratitude. So now I do that every night, and I do it while I'm in bed. Like I'm not like putting my knees down. I'm like once I lay down, like I'm getting ready to pray. And last night I had that prayer of just praying also for God to have peace over my dreams and to like stay over my dreams. Um, and so that's why it's interesting that you said that. And that's why the first thing I went through, I was like, nope, God, or come here. We gotta work on this one. We gotta fill this man with peaceful dreams and rebuke any demons in Christ's name.
Yeah, no, I don't like that feeling. But yeah, I hate to switch kind of. I'm gonna
Anyways,
switch gears, but um, to the second half of the how we started this conversation. So we started with building your business from scratch, but one of the other points that I wanted to hit on is how have you started building your team?
whoa, that's a good question. Okay, how have I started building my team? Well, in 2023, I worked for a company, and this was an eight-figure business. They were doing $500,000 a month when I was working there. And I started out at the bottom of the barrel. I was an appointment setter. And, in that team, as you rise up in sales, you start from appointment setter. And when you become a closer, you will then lead a team of closers. When you become a closer and you become a sales manager, you will lead a team of the closers and then basically help them lead their setters. So there's a training on that, on leadership and management. Now, rather than learning the training, I just took it upon myself to get experience hands-on. And so what did I do? As an appointment setter, you have an opportunity to run a team of DM setters. So you have an opportunity to run a team of people under you as an appointment setter who bring you leads. They bring you extra leads. So since we had that offer and that opportunity, what I did was I saw how my current sales chat was operating. So I saw like what was the sales manager doing, what was the founder doing in the chat, what was the all the closers doing in the chat, and what was all the setters doing in the chat. And all I did was I duplicated that same system and structure of how the chat operated, the frequency of it, how they communicated to each other, and I just duplicated it into me being the founder and the owner of this new chat, and all of the DM setters were underneath me. And so when I made that, I started learning how to manage a team. And I started learning through my experience of like, all right, if this company is doing $500,000 a month, I'm just copy what I'm literally seeing here on how to be a leader and how to like get these people to produce and stay frequent and always stay moving because it's commission based. You need to make sure like these people are always moving. Um, and so I started practicing that. And what was really cool was I got so good at it that under the table, founder didn't even know, I was basically running my whole own operation under the table because I was started getting all of the DM setters and I was the one who was literally placing them on every appointment setter. There was 30 appointment setters. So I literally was placing two, three different affiliates, was what we called them, per
Hmm.
every appointment setter. So I learned how to basically staff, I learned how to fire, I learned how to hire, and I learned how to ramp up and train really quickly through that. And so I got a lot of experience there. And since I got so much experience there and I was basically already looked at as like a founder of this like new division, a lot of the other team members on the team were giving me more respect because I was the one who was placing affiliates in their setters teams, right? So they gave me way more respect. They always edified me, made me look like I was like, at a higher position in the company, which is what we're taught to do. We're taught to like edify each other.
Hmm.
So they edified me really easily because of that. And so that, helped me not just because I was already the top appointment setter at the time. Like I was climbing the ranks. And so I was like getting to third place, second place, first place. You know what I mean? So around those times. And so while I was getting to the top, I was also already learning a thing that no one else was learning, which was leadership and management. So I wanted to practice that right away. Now, when I became a closer, I also started practicing that skill. And I already had so much respect that it was not hard for me to like establish myself. But when I left the company, because I didn't end up becoming the sales manager there, I left that company and I joined another company. And it was an older friend of mine who I met earlier that year. And I told him to launch his own sales training company. And so he did that. And when I met him, he was at like 40K per month. And he already had a team, and we wanted to scale the business to seven figures. So I came on as a sales manager for that company. I already had experience managing a team, so it wasn't hard for me to get these people ramped up, to check their numbers, to make sure they're up to date, to ramp up to a KPI. And I doubled his business from 40 to $80,000 a month within 2 months, just on sales. Same amount of ad spend, only just building the sales team up. So that's where I got a lot of experience. So it was all hands-on. I had structure and I had systems because I saw it with my own eyes. One thing that I'll say is I just got really good at duplicating what was working and just making it my own. So I took the same principles and I applied it to different positions. Last thing I'm going to say as well is in 2024, I invested into mentors who taught me like how to hire externally. Because everything I would do that was hiring was quote unquote internal. But I had experience interviewing people and I had experience hiring and firing people, but I needed experience now how to find talent outside of myself or outside of like what the company is already providing. So I already had a mentorship that was like a seven-figure business owner who had it part of his offer that he taught you how to hire, people externally. And so I started to do that. And when I did that, I got really good at building SOPs. What is an SOP? It's a standard operating procedure. You probably do have one at your 9 to 5. You probably have something that describes what your job is, what your position is, and how to do it properly. So I got really good at building them because now you just start to document what you need somebody to do, and then you make it very clear and instructional on how to do it. So I had a lot of SOPs and I built more SOPs. And that's how you can hire a team very effectively because you will find the person you were looking to hire, you'll run an interview process. And if they match what I look for is characters and values first. You got to match my mission, my vision, and my characteristics. Because if I don't align with you, you're probably just going to hurt the culture of the company. And that matters more than your skill level.
Hmm.
So culture comes first. Skill can be trained. So if someone doesn't have that much skill, but they have talent, that person can be trained. If they have no skill and no talent, I'm probably going to fire them in the first week to 2 weeks if I decide to hire them.
I have a book about culture that I was going to recommend for people. I'm blanking on the name, but if I remember it or if I can find it, I'm definitely going to recommend it because culture is huge for any business. Whether it's you starting your own or if you work for somewhere, the culture of the business is going to determine a lot of its success and also employee retention.
Yeah, 100%. You just need the right people who have the right vision around you. Um, if you don't have the right people with the right vision around you, it's inevitably going to fall apart from the inside. It's kind of like having a relationship that's toxic. Like it's just not going to work. It's just not going to resonate.
Yeah, not at all. I mean, dude, I've worked in places that the culture was terrible, and it's like you feel mentally drained every day. But then you work in a
Yeah.
place with a good culture, and it's like you're actually excited to go to work, and like you don't hate your job,
Mhm.
and it actually
Yeah.
like it's actually good for you versus taking away from
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and I'm glad I experienced a lot working at other companies because if I didn't, I wouldn't really be able to realize how important it is because you also start to learn what you don't like. Because like there's good in everything, but there's also bad in certain things. So I really started to learn like what I didn't like, what felt evil, what felt political, what felt like power trip, what felt like it wasn't in alignment with my values or my morals, what felt ungodly. So when you launch your own business, you got get very clear on what you want, who you want, and how you want it. You get very clear on your mission, you get very clear on your vision, and you get very clear on your values. Like I value Jesus Christ in my business. So if someone comes into my business and they have full disrespect for God, they're obviously not going to be a good culture fit,
Hmm.
and that it's just not going to work long term. Or if I have a value where it's about respecting others and someone comes in and they start talking crap about other people behind their back, that's not a good culture fit. And, I'm not saying that, I don't like you. I'm just saying that you're not good meant to be here.
Hmm.
That's good for sure, man. Um, was there anything else I wanted to say too about hiring, I guess? No, that's basically it, man. Lock down your SOPs, learn how to hire externally. And I learned how to do it just like LinkedIn, Fiverr, Upwork, um, Facebook groups, like simple starting points were there. Um, and get very clear on what you need and what you're looking for, and very clear on how much you want to be paying this person for, and whether you want to do a base pay, an employee pay, or like percentage. Like get super, super clear on that so that every person that you hire has a very clear expectation of the role. And honestly, hire what you need first. The only two hires you probably need first is you probably need someone who's going to do admin work because there's a lot of busy work you're probably doing that you don't need to do all the time. So have someone who does like all of the repeatable tasks. Like I'm not the one who's going to edit my modules in school. I can just ask my guy to go do that. I'm not going to be the one who has to copy and paste things into a sheet to track stats. Like he's going to do it. I don't track any payroll. I don't track any commissions. I don't track any bills or expenses, but I get all of it reported because my administrator does that. Virtual assistant could be a Filipino, could be someone that you trust, cheaper third world country. And then after that, if you're good at sales, be the sales guy for as long as possible. Um, at least the closer, and hire a setter if you want to. Like I got a setter. If you're bad at sales, then probably bring on a salesperson and focus on what you're good at, which is probably going to be marketing. Um, And then after that, once you kind of figure out if you need a salesperson or a marketer, um, you know, you probably don't really need anything for a lean business to get to 10 to not 10K, but above 10K, like 30, 40, 50. You probably at most just need like a video editor or maybe a creative strategist if you want to
Hmm.
do content marketing. Um, Also, the last hire would be like a delivery person, someone who can leverage delivery for you. So if you have a coaching program, maybe a one-to-one coach that handles all the fulfillment and talks to all the clients. Maybe a media buyer who does all the fulfillment for their clients if you're an ad agency or something. That's the order of operations. I do admin first, and then I would probably do either service delivery or the skill that you suck most at, which would probably be sales or marketing.
Hmm.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Sweet.